Well, good evening and welcome inside the Jerome McGinley Arena in St. Albert as we get set for action between the Mountain View Mavericks and the Crude Lacrosse Club. Coming up here shortly, just after the anthem. Well, once again, if you're just tuning in, welcome inside Jerome McGinley Arena in St. Albert, Alberta. My name is Keenan, bringing you all the action this evening between the visiting Mountain View Mavericks and the Crude Lacrosse Club. Crude coming off a bit of a devastating loss last night against the Outlaws. See if they can turn it around on a dime less than 24 hours later. On the other end of the floor, the Mavericks coming in on an absolute heater here. I believe as we sit right now, 4-1 on the season. And even then, their single loss was a nail-biting finish. So we'll see. This is bound to be a great course of action over the next 2 hours or so. Your starting goaltenders for tonight for the Mavericks. In goal, number 1, Alex Swan. For the Crude, 35, they're going to go to Will Horn. As ball is set, and we are underway. Off the opening draw, bit of a scrum for it on the close side board. It's going to be won by the Crude, and Mavericks immediately going to pick that off in their own zone. Moving it back left to right. The Mavericks wearing the white with the yellow and navy. The Crude wearing their home grays with the purple and white. Crude trying to move it around the close side here. It's going to be knocked out of the stick of Nikipolo. And now the Mavericks are going to look to go to work with it is Harnack. Harnack is going to quickly pass off to Dolinsky, as Dolinsky's going to wait for everybody to get a change off before he starts putting some offensive pressure on. Ball now in the far side corner, now up to the top for Gardner. Gardner's going to take a shot, and Horn going to come up with the first save of this game. Horn going to send that one quickly up to Fodchuk in the center. Fodchuk going to get just rubbed out by about 2, 3, 4 different Mavericks right along the bench, and ball is going to land in the Mavericks bench. It's going to be Mavs ball. Bossamworth with it, and he's going to pass off quickly, and now a tic-tac-toe as Sutherland rips one from just outside the circle. They're going to say it went off a Crude player and award it to the Mavs. It looked like McConnell was trying to move up quickly with it, but referees blow their whistle a few times. Bossamworth passing off. Now in the far side corner with it, running it up into center. Now off lines, maybe going to fire. Second chance, maybe waited a quick second, was Jace Victoria as he was getting covered, and he found a lane to maybe at least get a shot off here, and it's quick back and forth action, only 90 seconds into this contest. Crude with it just inside the zone. Dickin up from Calgary for this weekend's games for the Crude as he's going to fire a shot down low on Swan. It's going to be tipped aside. Loose ball bouncing all the way down the floor. Finally going to be scooped up by the Mavericks. Mavericks have a chance, and just putting it a little bit wide of Horn. Crude trying to move it up through center, barely beating the 8 seconds as Nikipolo has it knocked out of his stick. And now there's going to be an open lane opportunity here for Harnack, as Harnack is going to squeeze in, and Horn comes up with the stop as Harnack is going to take an extra shot there from the Crude. No penalties coming up on that play. Mavericks all over the Crude, now hanging all over. There's going to be a penalty coming up here as they feel Drader was practically right on top of his man. It's going to be a 2-minute hold to the Drader. So the Mavericks, with the first power play opportunity of this one, they're going to go to work, and I have been informed that wearing the number 23, in fact, is not Boston Worth. It's Brady Sinclair wearing the 23 for the Mavericks. Sinclair with it at the top, passes off, Maverick shot, scores! 14 seconds is all the Mavericks needed. And just like that, it's 1-0. As I believe goal was to Dolinsky. We'll get a confirmation up here in the media box. So the Mavericks with the first goal of this one, putting the Crude on their heels early. And you got to think this is shades of last night for the Crude. So the Mavericks proving why they're at the top of the Central. As they are having some difficulties with the scoreboard here. They're not able to clear that penalty, so we'll have a minute here. Gives me a good chance to let you know that this first period brought to you by Zender Ford, this car dealer in Spruce Grove, who will go above and beyond to meet the customer's needs. They'll work with you no matter what situation you're in, conveniently located on Highway 16, and have great hours so we can help you with any vehicle needs you may have. As they finally get the penalty off the board, and we're back underway. And getting confirmation up here in the box, it was Jace Victoria, so the other Jace that gets the goal here for the Mavericks to open this one. As ball currently loose, and Mavericks just were trying to throw it as deep as they could. But the ball ends up about at the center line here. Scooped up by Dickin, and we're back underway with the Crude heading back right to left. And it's actually going to be basically thrown to nobody, scooped up by the Mavs. And now, quickly moving it up. With it now, Class slowing it down, going for a change off. So he's going to drop that off to Sinclair. Couple quick passes. We're over on the far side half boards now as it finds its way back to Victoria already with one, and winds and fires one was Sutherland. Horn coming up with the stop. Dickin brings it in. He's got some open floor to work with. He gets a shot off right into the stick of Swan. Mavs moving it quickly through centers. Amundsen goes around the net, passes off onto the close side. Now looking backdoor, low shot goes off the post. Was Banco. Crude gained the rebound. Sent up through center, missed the stick of Reich. And now loose ball. The Mavericks doing a nice job on the loose ball in this one as they regain possession. Dolinsky with it. Slows it down, close side corner, up to the top. Looking to rip one on, trying to get through one. Couldn't get past the second. Was Muratori. Muratori on an absolute heater to start his 2025 campaign. As I don't think I've seen a player score as many goals as him this early on. As shot went a little bit wide, and Mavericks are just going to dump it in as the 30-second shot clock comes to an expiry. As Schultz brings it across, dumps it over to Elliott so he can go for his own change. Crude moving it around. trying to get some sort of offensive pressure working. They don't. Mavericks had it, and now scooped back up by Elliott as falling with it were the Mavericks, and now it's going to be a breakaway opportunity here for the Mavericks shooting, and just goes a little bit wide of Horn. They are actually going to say it did hit Horn, as Pan showed. Had a very nice opportunity there, and he's rewarded with a Mavericks offensive. Sinclair passing off, a little spin move by Gardner, couldn't get around his man. He's going to elect to pass it off, and a quick, hard shot that Horn just had to shake off. Crude have it in Mavericks territory. Mavericks doing a nice job holding the Crude pretty close to the red line. You got to think in the back of their minds they don't want to get a unnecessary over and back. Is trying to back in now is Dickin. Dickin just being hounded on it by Murray. He's still holding it as he had a couple of Mavs on him. Mavericks able to knock it loose, and Crude maintained possession. 30-second shot clock comes to an expiry. Mavericks re-awarded it once more. Muratori through the center, being covered. Maybe found a partial lane, but he elects to hold off as Dolinsky passes off. Behind the back pass intended for Dolinsky, hit a Crude player instead, and behind the back shot and second chance opportunity. The Mavericks all over the Crude to start this one. We're just over 6.5 gone by. I think of that 6.5 minutes, we've played a total of about 20 seconds or so in the Mavericks zone. Nikipolo with it at the blue line, passing off, quick tic-tac-toe over to Elliott. Elliott winds, fires one and scores. Bouncing shot is able to find its way past Swan and make this game 1-1. The Crude score at the 7-minute mark on only their second credited shot of this game, as the Mavericks have been all over them. The Crude get a lucky break here to tie this one at ones. Mavericks with it off the ensuing draw. Falls out of the stick of Ertmode. As Gardner has it. Gardner cross pass to the far side corner. Bringing it up in center, passing off. Back to Sinclair. Sinclair passing down low. Winds and fires one just wide. Is Gardner. This ball goes over and back. So they're going to award this Crude ball deep in Mavericks territory. Now the Crude can go to work, maybe look for their first lead of a game since a few games ago, practically it feels like at this point. Fodchuk with it, far side corner, knocked out of his stick, ball currently sitting loose. Little battle for it behind the goal line. My apologies, it is not Swan in net. I was told pre-game that it was Swan. It's actually Brady Evanson who is in net for the Mavericks at the current moment. I don't know if they may have swapped out when I wasn't looking. But Evanson is the goaltender for the Mavericks. It's the Mavericks with the ball now. Far side corner, trying to get around his man, passing off. Back and forth. Now Sutherland passes off one more time. Wines fires one and scores! As the Mavericks now up 2-1 on the Crude on a rocket of a shot from just outside the circle. Off the draw, another win. Amundsen with it. Drops it off. Now with it is Banco. My apologies, that's Gooder Zimmer with it. Passed off, winds and fires one from out far. That's off the goaltender into the netting. And now referees had a bit of a discussion there. They are going to award it to the Crude now with about 11:10 to play here in the first. Crude trying to bring it across center, just being hounded, knocked out of the stick now as Harnack got it out of Balachuk's stick. Mavericks with it in their own zone, not letting the Crude get deep. Mavericks passing around the outside of the circle, looking to wind up and look for maybe another one hard shot, and ended up actually basically in the neck of Horn there. Is now Fodchuk trying to get it, maybe capitalize on a Mavericks defensive change. They don't, and I don't think you could get gifted a goal like that. As now Muratori brings it in. Muratori puts it just off of the top. As Bossamworth gets that goal for the Mavericks. That second goal. Wearing the number 4. This is a Crude wind and fire one, stopped up by Evanson. Quickly up the close side, Hildebrand drops it back for Amundsen. Bombing, my apologies. And now, shot that looked like it may have actually went off the foot of Horn there. And up into the netting, and we will get our first media timeout here of the first period. Well, Battle of the Border is back this September in Missoula, Montana. Tour the beautiful University of Montana campus. Learn about the CROW LAX program and full ride scholarships available for Canadians. All while taking part in the annual North versus South Box Lacrosse tournament. Learn more today by following them on Instagram at Battle of the Border LAX. Well, the Crude sponsored by Wedmond Land and Cattle Co. with 4 generations of expertise from more than just a ranch. We're a tradition of excellence. From quality cattle and performance horses to reliable trucking services, are here to serve your needs across Alberta. As everybody's getting set one more time here. 9:35 to play here in the first. 2-1 is where we sit. Mavericks with the lead over the Crude. Pass onto the close side for Elliott. Elliott already with the first in this game as he jumps up and tries to maybe put it over the shoulder of Evanson. As now Mavericks knock it loose. With it is Hildebrand. Hildebrand quickly crossed the center, beats the 8 seconds. Now it's going to be a 2-on-1 opportunity here for the Mavericks. That's a nice shot taken by Harnack, and Horn with the stop. Horn dumps it to his right as the Crude move it across center. As Ferretti with it on the close side boards right beside the penalty boxes here. Ferretti passes off to Lemieux, and Lemieux, couple passes later, we're at Lucas Bowie. Bowie's going to take a shot that goes just a bit wide, ends up right in the stick of Wells, and takes a hard shot that went off of the leg of Dolinsky. He bends down in pain as he limps over to the Mavs bench. Looks to be okay. He's walking it off right now behind the bench, being looked at right now by trainer Regan Meemeyer. The Mavericks try and get one hard, quick shot by Muratori as he did a bit of a, I don't know if I want to call that a wraparound per se, as he was right along the crease, just barely keeping himself in. As now Diswanka being hounded, knocked down by a couple of Mavs. And now it's going to be a 3-on-1 the other way for the Mavs. Mavs behind the back pass, look for the shot, and Horn comes up with the stop on Muratori. They're going to award the ball to the Mavericks as all the Crude players don't quite understand that. Nonetheless, Sinclair gets it restarted for the Mavericks. Hard shot from the outside by Sutherland. I think that went off a body of a Crude player. As there's a Mav who went down right in front of the net. Trying to keep pressure off the left leg. It's now trainer Regan Meumeier coming out for the Mavericks. Definitely favoring that left leg, keeping it out of the air. Good to see him back up as claps and applause erupts here in St. Albert. As it looks to be Tevin Gooder-Zimmer that went down. New addition to the Mavericks this season. So you get checked out. We'll let you know if we hear any updates. I'll be sure to check in here in the first intermission for you. As we're back underway now, is a bit of a stalemate in the dot. Finally going to be won by Amundsen, as he's going to get a bit of assistance. Gets it through center, passes off into the far side corner. Walking it up, dishing over. Now Gardner with it. Gardner not holding it for very long, as trying to cut in was Victoria. Now back to Gardner. Gardner's going to fire a shot that gets a piece of horn into the netting. Awarded Mavericks ball. 7:10 to play here in the first. Mavericks, a couple passes around the outside. Wide fires and scores! It's Bossamworth going to get his second of the game for the Mavericks, make it 3-1. Couple of absolute rippers from Bossamworth so far. As I can say, some good news here is that Gooder-Zimmer of the Mavericks, he is getting looked at just beside the benches here. He's not actually in the dressing room, so that is some good news. Hopefully I got some more for you. As now the Mavericks look to go up again by 4 now. Or sorry, by 3. As Muratori just trying to get a second shot, and he does. Muratori, what a stud this kid is. Takes a shot by jumping up, trying to put it over the shoulder of Horn, misses it, grabs his own rebound, and runs a bit of a wraparound play, keeping just barely his foot out of the crease. Tucks it far side on Horn, and makes this game 4-1. Mavericks with the ball off the draw. Amundsen passes off. Holding, waiting for those reinforcements. Pass over is trying to cut in is Gardner. He had a few guys just right on top of him, able to get a shot off, and now could be a partial break opportunity here for Nikipolo. Nikipolo has a bit of help as he's going to try and put it over the far side of Evanson. Evanson keeps this game at a Mavericks triple for the lead. Mavericks moving the ball around quite well. There's a miscommunication going to be picked off by Schultz. He gets it up to Reich, who now passes off one more time to the captain, Josh Fodchuk. Fodchuk down low, far side corner with it. Now back up to the top. Close side. Far side corner. Fodchuk with it once more. Gets a shot off right off of the feet of Evanson. Runs it in, slows it down is Jay Stalinsky. Victoria. A couple back and forth passes with Sutherland. Ball currently loose now in the far side corner. 2 Mavs on 2 Crude. Nobody really seems to have a full edge. A shot clock does come to an expiry. It's going to be awarded Crude ball with 4:44 to go here in the first. Fry with it now. Passed it down low. There's a Crude player who just grabbed it, knocked down by Panchode. And now out to Elliott. Elliott gets it knocked out of his stick. Crude maintaining possession, 9 seconds left on the shot clock. Going down low, and Evanson just comes out of his net a little bit here. His ball was loose right in front of the net. Evanson didn't know where it was. And Austin Wells was hovering. As now 8-second violation against the Mavericks. Crude will be awarded this one. Elliott passing off, finds its way to Dickin. Dickin holds it, gets it knocked out of his stick by Amundsen. And now it's going to be a one-on-one. Amundsen winds and fires one wide. Ball goes all the way into the Crude bench off of Horn. That is going to be Mavs ball with under 4 to play here in the first. Mavs moving it around on the outside far side. Victoria in center, passed off quickly. Slips a shot, takes a shot now. Is Sinclair. And now the Crude back the other way. As McConnell was looking to gain that one, it bounced out of his stick and just stayed just out of his reach. Right into Evanson's stick. And now the Mavericks look to maybe extend this lead up to 4. Victoria passing off. Up at the top. Now in the close side, back now top, close side once more. Wines fires one right into the crest of Horn. Was Victoria. Victoria having some words here with, I believe that was Diswanka. As Victoria holds it again. With it at far side corner was Muratori, who just found a lane. And this kid is just phenomenal at finding a lane where maybe there isn't one. As Crude, miscommunication, but still getting a shot off is Tyson Smith. Up into the netting, off of a Crude player, awarded back to the Mavs. Class with it. Finds its way to Sinclair. A rolling shot that I thought was just going a bit wide as Riley Banco kept that one really close to the floor. Makes this one a 5-1 game. I honestly didn't get excited for that because I thought he was just trying to dump it to somebody in the close side corner. However, Banco may have fooled everyone, including Horn, as he tucks it past Horn. Makes this one a 5-1 game with 2:12 to go in the first. It's a false start by the Crude, so Mavericks get the automatic win. It's Panchode with it. Passing off. And landed in the stick for just a second of Sinclair and kind of rolled out, as now the Crude trying to move it quickly up. As Balachuk gets driven into the boards by Panchode, and now in there as well as Sutherland. Knocked loose, bounces over to Evanson with 1:43 to go here in the first. Mavericks moving it back in the zone. Maybe going to try and call a couple shots here. 16 seconds left on their shot clock. Looking to wind up, fakes it as Victoria as he drops it over to Sinclair. Back to Victoria. Victoria fires one on Horn. 1:23 to go. Horn comes pretty far out just to pass it to his closest man. as they don't beat the 8 seconds. Horn held it for maybe a few seconds too long, as now Muratori has it. Muratori knocked out of his stick by McConnell. Horn scoops it up, passes up the close side to Fry. Fry with it. As we enter the final minute of play in the first, Elliott with it. Elliott looking to wind up. He's going to circle back around. Pass off. Now close side corner back to Elliott. Elliott's going to fire one, and that's going to hit Hildebrand in the center on its way to the net. Crude, though, scoop it back up. 38 seconds to go in this one. We're looking at about a 12-second shot and game clock separation, so Crude at least have to get one more very quickly. Pass across to Elliott, and Elliott just scoops it up off the floor and up into the roof. And with that, 25.5 to go. Mavericks have the ball for the remainder of the period. Held just inside by Delinsky. Delinsky brings it into the close side corner, as now the Mavericks are going to go with an empty net for the final 10 seconds. Go 6 on 5 here. Mavericks moving it around the outside wide, fires one. That's going to go just off of Horn into the close side. 1 second left. They're just going to wind it. Try and go back door. Referee saying it's no good, as it did go in the net on the backdoor opportunity, but it was just a little bit after the final buzzer went. And that's about as close as you can get it. So with that, through the first 20 minutes, 5-1 Mavericks dominating the Crude here in the Jerome Iginla Arena. Thank you so much for tuning in to CROW LAX TV. We'll be back shortly with the second. Well, welcome back inside Jerome McGinley Arena. Second period action between the Mavericks Lacrosse Club and the Crude Lacrosse Club. Just moments away through the first 20 minutes of play. 5-1 Mavericks leading over the Crude as shades of last night loom on the horizon for the Crude. The Mavericks just continuing their dominant early season form against the Crude. As ball is down, we're back underway inside the Jerome McGinley, and some news out of the Mavericks camp. Tevin Gooder-Zimmer is done for the evening off of his injury in the first period. It's an unfortunate situation there, but wish all the best to Gooder-Zimmer, and hopefully he's back on the floor next weekend as Mavericks get an early goal to start the second period. And just like that, 6-1. Off another marker from Riley Banco. 22 seconds into the middle frame. Well, this second period for the Crude brought to you by Alberta Sportswear, the official apparel supplier of the Crude Lacrosse Club. The leader in quality embroidering, custom logo clothing, sublimated jerseys, and more. Everything from design to production is all done in-house at Alberta Sportswear. Ensuing draw, Crude seemed to maybe have it, but it's going to be just tossed aside now as the Mavericks look to regain it. Finally, coming away with it is the Crude. Crude bringing it in and knock the stick right out of the hands of Nikipolo. So now Stenson had it, knocked out of his stick. Mavs back the other way. Bosomworth kept it in the zone for the Mavericks. They're moving it around the outside. Pass intended for the far side corner. Kind of missed everybody. Crude going to come away with it as Horn gets knocked down behind his net. Now ball currently in the close side corner, knocked down off of it. And behind the play there was a bit of extra pushing and shoving. And Crude are actually going to be taking a penalty here off the back of the play. We'll see what the official call is here. As Julian Ferretti heading to the box. It's going to be a 2-minute roughing call here to Julian Ferretti. As going to the Mavericks change, I believe is when this happened, as watching play that ensued down in the far side corner. Ferretti maybe given an extra shot where he shouldn't have. He's going to sit for 2 in the sin bin, and we're back underway. It's the Mavericks moving it around the outside, looking to capitalize on another power play opportunity. Mavericks into the top now. Close side shot. Kept by the Mavs for about a second before the Crude now bringing it back across is Dzwanka. Dzwanka being hounded by Dolinsky. Keeps possession. Now there's 3 Mavs right there on Dzwanka. And he just cannot get off the boards at the moment. Dolinsky backs off. Now it's a 2-on-1. And just killing some time here was Dzwanka. Dzwanka knocks a stick out of one of the Mavs' hands. He was not happy with what ensued there. Nonetheless, Mavericks now look to go back to work. Boeming is wearing the number 17, not his regular 25. He's wearing the number 25 is Jet Blumenhagen. As the Mavericks keep it, but the shot clock is going to expire. And now knocked loose from the Crude. Ball still currently loose. Scooped up by Murray. Murray with it for the Mavs. He passes off, goes for a change off, as so does Panchode. as the Mavericks looking to set something up. Still 15 seconds of power play time to go. Just enough time to get one more off on the shot clock, which they just did. Crude going to come away with the rebound as 3 seconds left on the penalty. Ferretti clears the box. We're back 5-on-5. McConnell passing off. Finds its way through a few guys. Now we're sitting on the far side half boards. Now to Fodchuk on the close side. Fodchuk rips one down low and gets it past Evanson. Evanson thought he had all of it. Goes 5-hole on him. And the Crude trying to start the comeback. It's 6-2. Something interesting to note here in the arena as well is I don't know how accurate this is. They're currently crediting the Mavs with 30 shots on goal already in this game. And the Crude only with 7. I don't know how accurate that is, but they are doing a pretty good job of updating it, and I could fully believe it with how offensive this Mavericks team has played so far. Crude strip the Mavs of it. It's going to be a partial 2-on-1 break the other way. Elliott's going to fire it just a little bit high. And now the Mavericks pick up the rebound, moving it quickly back right to left as Class brings it in, trying to go up to Sutherland. Ball was loose, picked up by McConnell. McConnell gets through a couple defenders. Trying to get it up, moving it in towards center. Now a floater pass up, picked out of midair. As it's going to be awarded to the Crude right here along the close side boards. With it now, Stenson. Stenson cross pass, hard shot off of the pad of Evanson as he was trying to cut off Fodchuk. Couldn't quite get out fast enough. Harnack took a pass and a quick shot by the Mavericks. Makes this one a 7-2 game. As it looks to be, I think that's Bosomworth. Sorry, Bosomworth. I cannot talk today. Apparently English, even though it's my first language, well, you wouldn't think so the way I'm speaking today, as that is going to be awarded Bosomworth's hat trick goal in this one. Crude win it off the draw. And another miscommunication that the Mavericks capitalize on. Harnack passes off, goes for a change. Up to the top is Boeming. And Boeming quickly off to Bosomworth. And my apologies, that was not Bosomworth. That was actually Sinclair with that goal. Braden Sinclair gets his first of this one. As a hard shot by Boeming went pretty far wide of the net. Second chance opportunity by the Mavericks as the shot clock was coming down to an expiry. Ended wide as well. This ball currently bouncing most of its way down. Mavericks going to go on the defensive now. It's Crude trail by 5. There's still 14.5 roughly to play in the second. Crude trying to move it out of there was Dickin. Found its way over and off the play. They're going to award this ball to the Mavericks. And now moving it quickly up is Class. Moves through a few, trying to go back into center for Sutherland. It's no good. He gains his own rebound, however. So now Bosomworth is trying to pass it off. Finds its way back, and hard shot from Boeming goes a bit wide. Crude now trying to move it up quickly is McConnell. McConnell gets pounded right onto the boards and ball knocked loose. As the Mavericks regain it with 13.5 to play here in the second. Well, thanks for tuning into CROW LAX TV. My name's Keenan, bringing you all the action this evening from inside Jerome McGinley Rec Center. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every single time we go live all season long here on CROW LAX TV. A few more games on tap for you tomorrow as the Mavericks go hard into the net. Couldn't quite get around his man. Now some words being exchanged between Ferretti and Sutherland on their way back to the benches. And now the Crude trying to get a quick shot off as Fodchuk. With it, far side, Elliott. Quickly to Fodchuk. Fodchuk bobbled it for a second. Evanson regained it for the Mavs as now they bring it through center. Mavs hard, knocked down hard. And a hit from behind by Lemieux. And now this game's starting to pick up in its physicality. There's now new head coach of the Crude, Terry Dogan, yelling at the referees here. And now looking for a shot was Muratori and saved by Horn. As Muratori taking some shots on Dzwanka. Is this game now, we get into the nitty-gritty of it, closing in on the halfway point. Reich passing off to McConnell. McConnell down low, through a couple players. We're in the far side corner. Brought back up high. Looking for a shot was Dickin. Finally gets one, and it bounces just off Evanson along the goal line. Doesn't pass it. Mavs with it. Dolinsky beats the 8 seconds and driven hard into the boards. Was one of the Mavs players who's still down on the floor, slow to get up. Was Amundsen. And now stick knocked out of a Mavs player's hands. Again, a nice swing of the stick from Balachuk to knock that ball loose. Now Balachuk gains possession. Balachuk trying to cover from Gardner right behind him. This ball currently loose, still loose. Feels like we're playing a game of hockey at the moment. 11 minutes to go here in the second. Finally, maybe somebody gains an extended possession, and no, they don't. Ball still loose. As Stenson keeps it in, and they're going to say he did go over and back, so Mavericks going to now be awarded this one after about 30 to 45 seconds of a loose ball. Mavericks, far side corner with it, up to the blue line. Pass onto the close side for Sutherland. Sutherland behind the back pass intended for Boeming, who was trying to cut in and covered by Smith. This ball picked up by the Mavericks. Still 8 seconds left on their shot clock. Ball's currently knocked out now by a Crude player. And fresh 30 to work with as the Crude pull it in. They cross at the 3. McConnell holds it. Going for a change off, gives it over to Fodchuk as Fodchuk is going to be covered, hit a bit high. There is going to be a penalty coming up on the play to Andrew Murray. Believe they're going to call this one a high stick, as now the Crude are going to play a 6-on-5 on the delayed penalty call. Crude just trying to maybe get something on net, and shot goes a bit wide. Ball currently loose, and with the shot clock coming to an expiry, that is going to call it at exactly the 10-minute mark of the second. So it's going to be a 2-minute slashing call to Andrew Murray here with 10 minutes to go in the second. So the Crude going to get their first taste of power play action as the Mavs sit in the sin bin. Elliott is going to get this started for the Crude. Crude, wind, fire one. Evanson comes up with the stop. Now the Mavericks, shorthanded opportunity for Harnack as he goes in, and Horn with the shoulder save. Crude trying to move back up quickly. Off to Fodchuk. Fodchuk. Off to Elliott. Elliott regains it. Fodchuk. Back across, quick pass, open lane opportunity maybe. Fodchuk is going to regain it and fire it. That goes off of a Mavs stick. And they are going to award it to the Crude. Once more, still a minute 18 of power play time to go. Crude have some time to work with. Fodchuk, hard pass across, picked out of midair by the Mavericks. As the Mavericks able to slip one shot, slip two players. Quickly moving in, Sutherland. He's going to cut back, wait for some reinforcement. Over to Banco. That one being Riley, as the Banco brothers play for the Mavericks. Riley Banco wearing the number 19. Jordan Banco wears the number 24. Fodchuk calling a couple shots here. 40 seconds left of power play time. Back to Fodchuk from Elliott. Pass down low, cross, far side corner. Still in the far side corner, now up at the top. Hard shot, Evanson with the stop. Mavericks, 3-on-2 opportunity now. Pass across and bobbled was Muratori, and Crude quickly. It's going to be an open opportunity for the Crude, and putting it wide is Bennett Fry. Up into the netting, going to be awarded Mavericks ball right in front of the Crude bench. And now, with 6 seconds left on the power play, we're going to be getting the media timeout for the second period. Well, once more, Battle of the Border is back this September in Missoula, Montana. Tour the beautiful University of Montana campus, learn about the CROW LAX program, and full ride scholarships available for Canadians, all while taking part in the annual North versus South Box Lacrosse Tournament. Learn more today by following us on Instagram at Battle of the Border Lax. The Crude, sponsored by United Sport and Cycle, a specialty sports store located in the heart of Edmonton. They see sports as a way to bring people together, and the driving force has always been to help athletes of all levels reach their full potential. Crude also sponsored by Frank Sandblasting and Painting, Alberta-based company, family-owned and operated, providing customers with the benefit of personalized service. Every detail that goes into a customer's order reflects the strong commitment to providing them with the same service and quality. So the Mavericks up 7-2 past the halfway point of this contest. Last season finishing second at the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup, making their way out to the Founders Cup last year, where they would unfortunately win place. Mavericks looking to continue their dominance this season, and, well, head coach Trey Christensen has done just that to start this one. And Mavericks looking like some early favorites to head back to the Larry Bishop and potentially the Founders and represent Alberta as that second team. As the Mavericks trying to get something started here, as the Crude just covering decently now. They weren't so good at it earlier, as finding a lane was Delinsky, and he puts it just wide. 7:33 to go here in the second. McConnell brings it across the half, beats the 8 seconds, passes off to Fodchuk. Fodchuk, floater pass, cross the floor. Now running it up and firing one just wide is Dickin. Crude are going to be getting another power play opportunity here, as Ertmode is now going after Dickin in the far side corner, as they're going to have some words here, and they're sizing each other up. Nothing more is going to come of that. Sorry, that was not Dickin. That was Elliott, who was sizing up Ertmode. So there's going to be a 2-minute roughing call here to the Mavericks. And the Crude go back on the power play less than a minute after their last one expires. 0 for 1 so far tonight. Elliott. Fodchuk now down low behind the goal line. Crude looking to find a lane. Fodchuk bobbled it and rolled out of his stick. Maintains possession over to Elliott. Elliott shot, scores! Liam Elliott. Give him his second of the game, makes it 7-3, and Crude 1-1 on the power play. Elliott with a one-time from straight out. Tucks that one past Evanson. Make this game 7-3, and the Crude slowly trying to crawl their way back into this one. Bossamworth passing off. Far side corner now. Now on the close side, looking to wind up, maybe dekes out his man is Dolinsky. Dolinsky's going to put it off the far side post. It goes off, they're going to say off of horn, into the roof. And the Mavericks maintain possession. Getting a quick shot off there was Banco looking for his third. Now the Crude, and a nice job by Dolinsky, just barely about 3 steps too late to beat the 8-second violation. And now the Mavericks go back to work. 5:47 to go in the second. Dolinsky with it now. Off the play, going down was Boeming. As Dolinsky takes a shot, regains his own rebound. Mavericks maintaining possession of it. Looking to shoot. Gardner gets one off on horn. Gets a fresh 30 to work with. Ball currently loose. Mavericks trying to pick it up. They do. They maintain once more. Wine fires one right along the floor. Looked to be Banco. As now we're going to have some pushing and shoving there between, it looked like Boeming and Drader were getting into it, as a Crude player is going to go down behind the play. No penalty coming up as the Mavericks are going to score on the fast break. As it's going to be Andrew Murray who went down trying to block Drader. My apologies, it wasn't the Mavericks goal. That was the Crude goal. We'll see who they officially give this to, as I believe it was Drader, but it may have been Bowie. So the Crude clawing their way back now within 3. As it's 7-4 Mavericks. And now referees talking to head coach Terry Doken of the Crude, as he was not happy that one of his players went down right in front. There was a delayed penalty that they're saying was called off due to the goal. False start for the Crude once more, awarded to the Mavericks this time. As Mavericks getting a hard shot, jumping on it. And now Schultz moves it across center and almost gets knocked down. As now player down behind the play for the Crude, writhing in pain. Trainer Ahmed El-Bakari over there. And we'll just take a short break here while everything gets looked out. You're watching CROW LAX TV. We'll be right back. So good news here. Crude player up under his own power, and it looks to be that it was Carson Schultz who went down. He's heading right to the dressing room with trainer Ahmed El-Bakari. 4:37 to play in the second. 7-4 Mavericks lead. Riley Banco going to get it restarted here for the Mavericks. Looking to find a lane. Sutherland, he passes off instead. Finds his way back to Sutherland. Sutherland gets it knocked out of his stick momentarily. Gets it across, now up to the top. Hard shot and a nice play to keep that one out as Boeming looks to be right there. McConnell gets knocked down off of it. And the Mavericks deep in the zone. It goes off of Dzwanka. Mavericks maintaining possession as this game has ramped up in the last few minutes here. Muratori trying to give some assistance to Sutherland. As now gets it to Muratori. Muratori cutting in. He's going to step into the crease. So no goal anyway, even though it was a save by Horn. Nikipolo with it. Close side boards. Crude go back and forth a few times. Now Fodchuk with it right at the red line. Past the blue, past the white. Fodchuk gets around his man, going to cut in and goes for a bouncing shot that ends up in the stick of Evanson. Regains it, however. Fodchuk looking for maybe a backdoor opportunity here. Evanson comes up with the stop. Sends it pretty far down. They're going to say that it is going to be too many players on the floor, I believe, for the Mavs. There's going to be a too many players on the floor call, in fact, for the Mavericks bench. So coming over to serve that is going to be Remy Panchode. So the Crude get another 2 minutes to work with on the power play with 3:12 to go in the second. Fodchuk with it. Regains it. He's just going through the motions with everybody here, trying to find somebody to shoot it. And a hard shot by Elliott goes off of Maverick into the roof. Ball's going to bounce all the way down to the Mavericks bench. And that fourth goal for the Crude, they officially awarded to Liam Elliott. So Elliott with 3 in this game already. Fodchuk has it. Passing over. Now Elliott tried to go back to Fodchuk, just out of his reach. That's going to be an over and back anyway. However, it's probably not going to matter as Dolinsky's going to walk in. McConnell comes up quickly. Dolinsky with it in the far side, covered by McConnell. McConnell's not letting him move anywhere at all. Still a minute of power play time to go, just over. Still holding it is Dolinsky. Finally trying to find his way out. Gets knocked out of his stick. And now Dzwanka has it for the Crude. 2 minutes to play here in the second as Dzwanka is going to drop it for Elliott. And they're going to go back to work one more time in the offensive zone. Elliott, pass off, winds, fires, and scores! Graham Dickin with the goal for the Crude. And it just keeps coming for them, 7-5. There was one of the Mavericks players actually that came over to Dickin almost right away after the goal. Don't know what was being said, but referee was able to kind of get his arm in the middle of it, prevent anything from happening. As Panchode is over the center, and I think referee telling him you can't be over the center line. Panchode wins the draw, minute 48 to go. As that is a power play goal for the Crew, 2 and 1. So 2 for 3 so far tonight. Mavericks keep it in. Nice job swatting that back in. Not going to matter. Crude bring it back across as Ferretti. Ferretti circles back right at the blue line, trying to deke out Gardner. Just sends it back for Fodchuk with a minute 18 to play in the second. Rips one on net, and Evanson keeps it out just barely. Referee saying no goal, as that's going to pop up into the roof, I think. As we enter the final minute here in the second, Fodchuk was looking back door. As now Mavericks move back the other way, but quickly in is Muratori, puts it just wide. Crude now, scoop it up. With 40 seconds to go, we're looking at about a 13-second shot and game clock separation in the dying minute of the second. Fodchuk trying to get in past Dolinsky. He can't. He's going to opt to shoot from pretty far out and put it home. Josh Fodchuk gets his second, makes it 7-6. .26.2 to go inside Jerome McGinley's second period, and the Crude have slowly worked their way back from a 7-2 deficit, and it sits 7-6. This pan shot is going to go down with this Wanka in the center for the next draw. Stalemate as it's just tucked in there pretty good. Finally gets scooped out. Still loose, picked up now by the Mavs and gets knocked out. And there's going to be a timeout called immediately by the Mavericks with 15.5 to go in the second. Mavericks going to look to swing momentum back their way to finish off the second as they currently lead the shot clock by double. 40-20 is where the shots sit. Well, thank you for tuning in to CROW LAX TV this evening. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time we go live all season long across Junior B Tier 1, Junior B Tier 2, Alberta Major Female, and Senior B. First Senior B game on the network taking place earlier today as the Rebels taking down the Mountaineers by a score of 12-9. That action coming from you all season long for the Rebels and the Outlaws of Senior B. However, we're down another division in Junior B Tier 1 as the Mavericks with an empty net with 15.5 seconds. Maybe not. They are actually going to send Evanson back out. No, they're not. So right now they actually only have 5 players out there. They can put a 6th, and I don't know if they realize that they actually don't have a 6th. They finally put the 6th player out there with only 7 seconds left, and now the Mavericks looking back door, and the Crude just going to send one down and try and get it in just in time, and it's going to bounce just over the net. And with that, through 40 minutes inside Jerome McGinley, 7-6, Mavericks lead over the Crude. But we'll be back with the third momentarily. You're watching CROW LAX TV. Well, welcome back inside Jerome Iginla Arena as we get set for third period action between the Mavericks Lacrosse Club and the Crude Lacrosse Club. Through 40 minutes, well, it's been really a tale of two different stories here as the Mavericks leading 5-1 through the first 20 and the Crude dropping to, well, trailing 7-2, and they've clawed their way back to be within one as we sit 7-6 with the final 20 minutes on tap right here on CROW LAX TV. Well, the goaltenders are set. The ball is down, and we are back underway for the final frame of this one. Crude get it knocked out immediately, and it's going to be a 2-on-1. Everett Muratori with it. Muratori trying to go for a shot that stays on the close side, as they're going to say they're going to award it to the Crude here. Muratori looking to get the Mavericks off to a hot start in the third. Is directing some traffic is Nikipolo as it pops up for Lemieux. Lemieux brings it in, back to Fodchuk. Fodchuk close side to Wells, and Wells is going to one-tap that over to Dickin. Dickin trying to find a lane, gets it down low instead. Now right in the center's Wells, who's going to take a shot, and dropping down was Evanson to make the stop. Up to Dolinsky. Dolinsky being covered. Passes. Now waiting with it is Gardner. Gardner gets it knocked out of his stick, maintaining possession, however, are the Mavericks. Is swooping in to pick that one up is Victoria. Gets it over. Now hard shot down low with seconds dying on the shot clock, and ball fell out of Horn's stick. Now ball loose. Mavericks with possession, still doing a nice job on the forecheck to keep that ball. Boeming passing off. Now walking it into center, passes off. And looks for a hard shot was Gardner. And Horn came up with the stop. Horn passes off to his defense. It's McConnell. Brings it across the center, gets rubbed out along the boards. Ball was knocked loose, picked up by the Mavs, and now a hard pass over to Banco as Riley Banco had a lane, and he elects to slow it down as Drader came right into his line of sight. So Banco pass across, and nice job through traffic and getting a shot off, and net's going to be knocked off here for the Mavs. Scooped up just inside their own zone by Riley Banco, who over and backs it by accident as he passed the center and flipped it back over. It's Fodchuk. Dishes it over to Elliott. Elliott with 3 in this game already. Passes off, winds and fires one down low was Graham Dickin. That went off of a Mav into the roof. So they're awarding it Crude possession as Elliott has it. Cross floor pass to Fodchuk, who fires it in. Josh Fodchuk brings the Crude back to evens as we sit 7-7 with 17:11 to go. Josh Fodchuk puts the feather in the cap of the comeback. Down by 5 early in the second. The Crude now have it tied early in the third, and we've got a whole new game. Panshode passes off to Gardner. Gardner being covered by McConnell, dishes it to Dolinsky. Dolinsky passes over, and Panshode quickly moved that out. He didn't want to keep possession of it if he didn't have to. Once again, gets it down low and shot by Muratori. Goes off Horn, and now the Crude looking to maybe get their first lead of this one, as going down was Will Drader. Stick knocked out of his hands. The Mavericks with it. Dolinsky. Passed off a few times. Now we're in the close side corner. Looking to wind up with it is Sinclair, as he's going to get a shot off that goes just a bit wide into the roof. That's going to be Crude ball with 16:11 to go here in the third. Nikipolo crosses the half. Out of midair, Austin Wells. Mavericks pick it up. Now over to Riley Banco with 2 so far. Bounce pass across the floor. Boeming just trying to find a lane. He fires it, and Horn drops down, gets the stop. Dizwanka right through center. It's a 3-on-2 for the Crude. Winding fire, scores! Bennett Fry! The Crude have their first lead of this one. 15:21 to go. The Crude take advantage of the odd man rush, and it couldn't have come at a better time as they take their first lead of about the last 3 games now here against the Mavs. Has the Mavs on their heels. Victoria with it. He sees a lane maybe. He's trying to shoot it down low if he can get around his man. Opts to pass it instead. Shooting is Muratori. Goes just a bit wide up into the Crude bench. It's going to be awarded Crude ball with 15 even to go. Crude pick it up. Lucas Bowie passing off. Now over to Dickin. Dickin back to Bowie. Bowie shoots, and Evanson with the stop. Now the Mavs 1-on-1 here as Class comes in. Class gets knocked down, and it's knocked out of his stick. Ball currently loose. Picked up though by Class as he got up fairly quickly after getting knocked down. Mavericks looking to go to work and get back to evens once more. Mavs at the top, 6 seconds left on the shot clock. Got to get one on net. They do. It goes off Horn into the netting. It's going to be awarded Mavericks ball as Class picks it right back up, goes for a change off. The pace has been set for this third, which is different than the second, different than the first. Mavericks just trying to move it around, find someone open to get a shot off as it went down low off of Sinclair. And now the Crude move it up, taking a couple swings. It's Tyson Smith on the receiving end of those. Now Fodchuk with it. Fodchuk skirts back around as Smith set a pick. Drops it back. Now close side boards for Dickin. Dickin holding, 6 seconds on the shot clock. Elliott with it now. Elliott gonna wind and fire one right onto Evanson. Evanson yeets that one right through the center. Trying to meet it there was Harnack. He doesn't, so now picked up by Horn. And Horn opts to keep it low to the ground and just move it up quickly. Wells with it. Wells, spin move, trying to throw it on net. And I think it actually hit Evanson, picked up immediately by a Mav, so fast that it couldn't even catch it. So Mavericks move in, taking a shot off. Horn comes up with the stop. Horn just trying to get it moving as fast as they can. And this is the kind of game that the Crude need to play against the Mavericks. They need to play this fast-paced game. Don't let the Mavericks slow it down and set up the way that they want to. Mavericks around the outside, makes its way over to Sinclair. Sinclair passes quickly to Victoria. Victoria holding. He's being covered. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Pass Sinclair and a quick shot from Bossamworth. Saved by Horn. And now the Crude scoop it up. Moved in by Ferretti. Ferretti slips a shot, makes a pass off, goes for a change. Nice job by Dickin holding that. As Dickin has an open lane as he cuts in and gets a shot off, and Evanson comes up with the foot stop. Evanson passes through center for Murray. Murray drops it back for Gardner. Gardner into the close side corner now with it. Banco. Banco waits. And a pass that was intended for Sinclair missed him. It's going to be called an over and back. Crude are going to be awarded this one. 11:45 to play here in the third. Looking to set something up was Elliott. Passes over to Fodchuk. Fodchuk in his office. Back over to Elliott. Elliott now trying to get up to the top. Can't get around his defender. And now down in the middle of the floor was Wells. And now it's going to be the Mavericks the other way. 2-on-1 opportunity. And they score! Brendan Harnack ties it back up at 8. A defensive miscommunication from the Crude leads to a 2-on-1 odd man rush for the Mavericks. They capitalize on their own. Mavericks win the draw. Brought in quickly. Mavericks looking to maybe get up fast if they can. It's not often that they play from behind. And they played from behind for all of about 3 minutes of this game. Mavericks looking to wind up, getting down low, fires one, and it goes home! The Mavericks, 2 quick goals in half a minute. And they're going to award this one to Braden Sinclair, his second of the game. And the Mavericks back up 9-8. False start for the Crude again. So Mavericks awarded this ball off the ensuing draw, and the Mavericks are going to have no sign of slowing down here. Panchode, quick pass off, winds, fires one. Horn, though, coming up with the stop off of Victoria's shot. Fodchuk with it in center, trying to get the Crude back to evens once more, being covered by Hildebrandt. He's going to cut back. Gets it across, winds, fires his Dickin, and that goes off of a Mav. And now Dickin with a second chance, and he scores! Graham Dickin! It's 9-9. Graham Dickin grabs his own rebound. It tucks it past Evanson. As Mavericks win the draw. Hildebrandt with it, passes off. And now just trying to shoulder his way in is Harnack. Harnack now looking for his second in as many minutes. Harnack spin move behind the goal line, passes off. Now looking maybe for another passing lane are the Mavs. They're not going to, but now they do. Looking back door, jumping for it was the Mavs of, I believe, Devin Gardner. As Reich brings it in. Crude, Fodchuk fires one. And that's going to go up into the netting, and we're going to maybe get a media break here. We are, as coming out of it, it is going to be Crude ball. Well, the third period from here inside St. Albert brought to you by Central Social Hall. It can be a place for drinks with the girls, lunch with the client, brunch with your family, or late night with friends. Born and raised in Edmonton, they're committed to providing you with an outstanding restaurant and bar experience. They're located at 280-525 St. Albert Trail in St. Albert. Crude are also sponsored by Iron Workers Local 720. Their mission is to achieve a good standard of living and quality of life for their members in all phases of their careers for their families by building a reputation for performance, excellence, and unsurpassed pride within the ironworker craft. As well as Impact Homes, a Coventry Group company, and is a flexible home builder serving Edmonton and surrounding areas. With over 60 years of combined experience, Impact Homes is a leading Alberta builder. And Battle of the Borders back this September in Missoula, Montana. Tour the beautiful University of Montana campus. Learn about the CROW LAX program and full ride scholarships available for Canadians, all while taking part in the annual North versus South Box Lacrosse tournament. Learn more today by following them on Instagram at Battle of the Border Lax. Back underway, Crude looking for another one. They get a quick shot on Evanson, maybe a second chance opportunity. Ball currently loose, picked up by the Mavs. And now the Mavericks are going to be short a man on the 3-on-2. Mavericks still trying to find a way in is Dolinsky, as he's going to take a shot that almost took the referee's head off practically. Bounces all the way back to Sinclair. Sinclair passing off. Mavericks looking for a lane to shoot from as their shot clock is coming down to an expiry. They do get one on net from Victoria. Crude back the other way, McConnell with it. McConnell being covered by Victoria, finds his way around him. McConnell slows it down, passes back. Elliott being covered and hounded on the close side board, still maintaining possession, gets some help from Dickin. Now out to Wells. Wells, 6 seconds on the shot clock. Fodchuk's gonna cut in, bouncing shot that bounces just wide of Evanson up into the netting. Awarded Mavericks ball here with 8:33 to go in this one. Panchode passes off. As Gardner has it. He dishes it into the far side corner. Now looking back doors, Banco. Banco just trying to get a shot off, knocked out of his stick by the Crude. And now we're back the other way. Crude trying to move it in fast as Schultz was a little bit wide of his stick initially. Now Dzwanka bobbled it momentarily. Lucas Bowie. Bowie now trying to cut in. He gets cut off by a couple of Mavs defenders as that goes a hard pass into the far side corner right off the edge of the stick of Fodchuk into the roof. Class passing. Sinclair directing some traffic. The Mavericks trying to cut in. They cut back. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Mavericks got to have something happen fast here and get a shot off. Horn keeps it out. As Mav is going to go down after the shot clock expires. Don't think Ferretti intended to do that. As Mavericks maintain possession with a fresh 30 to work with, might I add. And 7:10 to play, trying to get in, and a diving shot by the Mavericks. Ball currently loose, picked up by the Crude, trying to keep it. Knocked loose, and now the Mavericks pick it back up once more as Dolinsky has it. Dolinsky waits for some reinforcement. Gets it off to Bossamworth. Bossamworth, quick pass to Victoria. There's a delayed penalty coming up to the Crude here. As looking back, door maybe are the Mavs, and no, as Horn's gonna touch that up. And with 6:40 to play in the third, the Mavericks are going to head to the power play. It's gonna be a too many men call on the Crude. So Trygve Balachuk comes over to the penalty boxes to serve this one. And if you're the Crude, if the Mavericks score here, what a sloppy penalty to take. Sloppy penalty nonetheless in a tied game this late. As now the Mavs wind and fire one, and Horn keeps it out. Didn't quite know where it was the whole time. Spin move, nice job from Fry. And now gets it up. Looking to cut in is Drader. Drader, he's going to get stopped up, trying to back his man down. I think he's going to opt to hold it, as all of his Crude teammates are staying back. And nice job by Drader to still try and get the ball towards the net here. As Drader runs to the bench in a bit of pain as he's limping, favoring his left leg. He's going to walk it off. Mavericks, still a minute 15 to go of power play time, under 6 to play. Mavericks looking to wind up, not going to quite yet. They're looking for just that perfect timing as Horn is going to stop that shot from Sutherland. Brought in by Fry. Fry over to Elliott. Fry now cuts in shorthanded, looking back door, maybe, or the Crude. They're going to fire wide of Evanson. And now the Mavericks are going to go back. Muratori with it now. Muratori, he gets knocked into the crease. So they're going to award that one to the Crude. And a nice heads-up play by Smith to make sure Muratori ended up falling right into the crease. Ball currently loose, comes across center, 5:07 to play. Kept by the Crude. Schultz with it now. 22 seconds of power play time left. Now Dickens going to cut in. Dickens spin move takes a shot. Evanson drops down to make the stop. Mavericks bring it back across. Delinsky under 5 to play. We're about to go back to 5-on-5. As the penalty now comes to an expiry, we're back to 5-on-5. No goal for the Mavericks. And a good job by the Crude killing off that sloppy penalty as the Mavericks take a shot that goes off the crossbar and out. Game of inches at that point. Stick gets knocked out of the hands of a Crude player, so they are going to award that to the Crude. I believe that was Nikipolo that had his stick knocked out. So 4:20 to go here in the third. Nikipolo sends it across center for Balachuk. Balachuk right back to Nikipolo. Now to Elliott as Nikipolo gets driven into the boards. Elliott into center, trying to go into the far side corner for Fodchuk, and it's knocked out of Fodchuk's stick. And now there's going to be a partial break opportunity here for the Mavericks, taking a shot and stopped up by Horn. Was Panshowed, and now the Crude back the other way. Quick back and forth action here in the dying minutes of this third period, tied at 3s. Dickin with it, passes off to Elliott. Elliott goes to the top and fires one on. Evanson comes up with the stop. Crossing center, Class. Passes over to Sinclair. Sinclair, 3.5, just under to play in the third. Cross floor pass. And now up to the top for Bossamworth. And now winding, firing one just wide of Horn. Mavericks, 3 seconds left on the shot clock. They're not going to make anything happen, however, as shot clock comes to an expiry. Crude immediately going to restart it as Lemieux has it. Now keep in mind, last time these two teams played here in St. Albert, it ended in a 6-6 tie in overtime. After, well, may have been a bit of a questionable finish. Nonetheless, it was a tie, and we're on track right now to head to overtime as Fodchuk has it now. Fodchuk winds one on and goes just wide of Evanson, and now the Mavericks move it back the other way. Bringing it across the half is Harnack. Harnack already with one. Holding it now, Gardner. Dishes cross, floor. Pass back. Mavericks with 10 left on the shot clock. They've got to make something happen fast. They do get one. Along the floor, it goes off of a Crude player into the netting. So just over 2 to play. Mavericks maintaining possession with a fresh 30 to work with. Mavericks up to the top is Sinclair, directing some traffic here in the dying 2 minutes. A hard shot pass across. Mavericks maintain possession, fresh 30. Sinclair. Down low, Gardner. Finds his way back over to the far side boards. Trying to get around, maybe getting a shot off, and second chance opportunity, maybe a third, as they're gonna say that he stepped in the crease when he shoveled it into the net. 9-9 is where we sit with a minute and a half to go here in the third. A pass right through the center to nobody Picked up by the Mavs, minute 25. Mavs still have time to work with to maybe walk out of here with a regulation win. Sinclair with it, minute 10 to play in the third. Hard shot, stopped by Horn on Gardner. Sinclair passes it across as we enter the final 60 seconds. The pass into center, knocked by Nikipolo. Horn scoops it up. And now the Crude looking to move it back quickly the other way as Drader brings it across the half, slips a shot immediately from Bossamworth. Floats it to Nikipolo. Nikipolo, one-touch pass through Elliott to Dickin. Dickin takes a shot, and they're going to say that he stepped in the crease. Dickin pleading his case to no avail, as it did get past Evanson, but no goal. 30 seconds to go, 8-second shot and game clock separation roughly. As the Mavericks have the final, what is going to be believed to be the final full possession of this one, as they do get a shot off. Now the Crude are going to have 14 seconds to work with, coming out of a timeout, as they are going to call a timeout. 13.6 seconds left, 9-9. And might I add, the Mavericks absolutely dominating on the offensive side of this ball, leading the shot clock 62-30. Already put 62 shots on net on the Crude. And now the Crude coaching staff of Terry Doak and Callan Harris and Al Menon going to tell everybody how to play this final 13.6. Well, once again, I thank you for tuning in to CROW LAX TV. My name is Keenan, bringing you all this action from Jerome McGinley Arena. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every single time we go live across Junior B Tier 1, Junior B Tier 2, Alberta Major Female, and Senior B. All season long, leading up through the Larry Bishop Memorial Cup live this year from Fort Saskatchewan. We've got the full coverage for you right here on CROW LAX TV. So the Crude are going to go 6-on-5 for the final 13.6. Dickin's going to get it restarted, and you never know what could happen here inside Jerome McGinley Arena. Ball placed in Dickin's stick, and we're back underway. Dickin is going to bring it across with 10 seconds to go in the period. Passes off immediately to Elliott. Elliott directing traffic, 4 seconds, takes a shot off, stopped by Evanson. Evanson's just going to send that one down as far as they can, and it's not going to matter as time is going to expire in regulation. And for the second year in a row from in Jerome McGinley Arena, the Mavericks and the Crude are going to head to overtime. After a short little break here, we've got overtime for you. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on CROW LAX TV. So both these clubs walking out of here, heads held high at least, knowing that they went tit for tat in the regular time, but now we play a 5-minute overtime. As to open the overtime, we're going to have a loose ball scooped up by Bennett Fry, as Fry is going to try and pass it quickly over to Reich. Ball loose behind the goal line for the Mavericks. Finally going to be picked up by the Mavs. And now it's going to be a 2-on-2 the other way. Mavericks looking to move it in quickly, floats it over to Panshode, but misses him completely. And now the Crude back the other way. Nikipolo brings it across center, directs McConnell to go for a change-off. Off to Dickin. Dickin now. He's got Elliott out there with him. He's got Wells out there with him. He's got Fodchuk out there. And behind the play, he's got Lemieux. Elliott winds, fires one right off Evanson. And now the Mavericks trying to move it back quickly. Not able to get too far. However, as Class now brings it across the half. Class, he had an open lane. Instead of taking it, he's going to pass it off right behind him to Sinclair. Mavericks wind and fire one. Second chance opportunity, maybe a third. Nice job by Horn to read where that ball was. 3:43 to play. They're going to award this ball to the Mavericks deep in Crude territory. Mavericks cross floor pass. Going to be picked up by Sinclair. Sinclair with it now. Being covered by Fry. Pass off. Back to Sinclair. And there's going to be a player that goes down off the ball to be awarded to the Crude in their own zone. 3:26 to go here in the overtime period. Crude, pass it over. Dickin now. Dickin brings it across center. Elliott, back to Dickin. Dickin, he sees an open lane, going to pass it to Elliott instead. Fodchuk looking to fire it on net and getting a shot off anyway with Stenson cutting in. Nice job by him there, as maintaining it in the zone is Elliott. 3 minutes to go here in the overtime. Fresh 30 to work with. Dickin in the center, slips a shot, looks to maybe get a shot off anyway. He does. It goes off Evanson into the net. They're going to say, though, however, it went off of a Crude player. And now the Mavericks moving back the other way. Muratori, is he going to be the overtime hero? Muratori, he holds it still against McConnell. Pass down low. And bobbling it for a second. And now it's going to be Noah Reich, as Noah Reich is going to get knocked down. And they're going to call it an over and back here. Award it to the Crude. And now there's going to be a mop-up required here in the overtime. And let me tell you something. Something like this just kills the momentum for both these clubs. However, that being said, this could be a good reset for both clubs to get their head back into the game with 2.5 to go here in the overtime. So getting a quick wipe down. This has been a long game, hence why the floor may be so slippery at the moment. So it's going to be Liam Elliott that gets it restarted for the Crude, deep in Maverick territory, close side corner. In his stick, and away we go once more. Elliott winds, fires. Evanson keeps it out. Elliott regains it, however, passes right out into the top. Now pass across for Fodchuk. Fodchuk over now, back with Elliott, and now looking for Fodchuk, and he bobbles it. Harnack picks it up, floats it through center for Hildebrand. Hildebrand off to Sinclair. Under 2 to play. Sinclair sends it across the floor. Mavericks just looking to maybe get in. Pull their way in, get a shot off, and that's going to go over the net. Looking for a second chance as they throw it on net. Horn keeps it out. Player goes down in front of the net. Mavericks trying to just regain that. They do. Bossomworth passed it over to Sinclair. Minute 33 to go. This player goes down off the ball, going to award it to the Crude. As now Crude bench is yelling something here. Referees are going to blow this play dead. As the Mavericks bench is livid here, and the Crude have called a timeout here. So the Crude, with 1:30 to go in the overtime, looking for a way to get it past Evanston. We'll see if they pull horn here. I don't know if they are going to. It would be a bit of a dangerous play with still another 89 seconds to play. All quiet on the Western Front. These two clubs looking for any way to edge each other out. Mavericks leading 7-2 at one point in this game, and we sit 9-9 with 1.5 minutes in the overtime. So we're going to be pretty far deep in Crude territory. Dickin is running over there to take it. Brendan Harnack also running over there for the Mavs. Maybe going to try and pick it off and quickly get it past Horn if he can get lucky. Dickin starting it back for the Crude. It's a pass down. Mavericks moving it in quickly, taking a shot off. Horn up with the stop, 1:20 to play. Crude. Bennett Fry. Over to Elliott. Elliott passes down low, cross pass, and hard shot just goes wide of the net. Picked up by the Mavs with 1:03 to go. Hildebrandt with it now, 58 seconds. Sinclair floats it over, far side boards, 48 to play. Trying to find a way to get a shot off. They do. It goes off Horn up into the netting. Awarded Crude ball, however. With 40 seconds to go, McConnell picks it out of midair. Passes it over to Bowie. Bowie slows it down, 32 to go. Bowie being hounded. Ball was knocked loose. Picked up, though, by Elliott streaking in. Elliott floats it over to Dickin. Dickin to Fodchuk. Fodchuk back to Elliott. Elliott's going to rip one just high and over Evanson as Elliott down in a bit of pain. As now the Mavericks here are going to call a timeout with 11.9 to go. 12 seconds left, and this is going to be one of those times where I think the Mavericks are going to pull Evanson. 12 seconds to separate you between a win and a tie. 1 point versus 2. Anything can happen. We've seen it before. It's Crude not even bothering to meet for this timeout. Head coach Trey Christensen of the Mavericks going over the game plan with everyone. He doesn't want to leave anything open to interpretation. Make sure everybody knows their places. Referee is going to blow it down. Tell everybody to get back in their places. As we're going to go 6-on-5 for the Mavericks. As they pull Brady Evanson. And Ryder Boeming gets it restarted now. 9 seconds to go. Boeming bringing it across, Muratori bringing it across center. Looking to wide. Fire one on net. Looking for maybe a second chance opportunity. His time is going to expire. And that's going to do it from here inside Jerome Aginla Arena. As the final score is going to end in a tie for 2 years in a row. This year, it ends 9-9. Well, that is going to do it from here inside Jerome Aginla Arena. Your final score, once again, 9-9. Tie for both these clubs as the Mavericks are going to walk away wondering what more they could have done to come away with that win. However, they still sit atop the central standings, and the Crude trying to slowly bring their way back to second place. Well, my name is Keenan. Thank you so much for tuning into CROW LAX TV, and we'll see you next time right here on CROW.